Stop. Right now. You're missing it. She was giving you signals all night, the way she laughed at your joke that wasn't even funny, how she found reasons to stand close to you, that momentary touch on your arm that seemed accidental but wasn't. But you thought she was just being polite, so you did nothing. And now she's texting someone else who actually paid attention. Here's what nobody tells you about women. They don't hide interest because they don't like you. They hide it because they like you too much, and they're terrified you won't see it. If you're watching this and nodding, if you've ever been confused by a woman who seemed interested, then suddenly cold, this is for you. This is the conversation we need to have. In the next few minutes, I'm going to show you 7 signals women send when they're attracted but hiding it. Not theory, not guesswork. Actual patterns backed by behavioral psychology. By the end, you'll never miss these signals again. And more importantly, you'll understand why she does this, so you can respond like a man who gets it, not a man who's chasing validation. But before we go deeper, let me be clear about something. This isn't about manipulation. This isn't about tricks or games. This is about understanding. Because when you understand how women communicate differently than men, you stop being frustrated and start being effective. You stop blaming her for being complicated and start appreciating that she's simply speaking a language you haven't learned yet. So let's start with the foundation. Let's talk about why she hides it in the first place. Imagine you're her for a moment. You meet a man you actually like. Your heart beats faster when he walks in the room, but here's what runs through your mind in that instant. What if I show interest and he doesn't reciprocate? What if he thinks I'm desperate? What if I give my power away and he uses it against me? So you hide it, not because you're manipulative, not because you're playing games, because you're human, because vulnerability is terrifying, especially when you genuinely care about the outcome. Women face a reality that men often don't fully grasp. Showing interest first has historically meant vulnerability, not just in 2024, not just in 1950, always. This isn't about fairness, it's not about politics or modern dating culture, it's about wiring. It's about the psychological weight of making yourself emotionally available first. So when you see her acting what you call weird around you, nervous, then cold, then warm again, don't think she's confusing. Think this. She cares enough about my opinion that she's protecting herself. That reframe changes everything. Her concealment is proof she cares, not proof she doesn't. Now here's what's happening when she seems to be testing you. She's not trying to make you suffer. She's asking 3 unconscious questions. First, can you read me without me spelling it out? Second, are you confident enough to act without guaranteed success? And third, will you fold under pressure or stay grounded? Weak men need constant confirmation. They need her to say it explicitly, to remove all risk, to guarantee the outcome before they make a move. Strong men trust their read of the situation. They see the signals, they interpret the pattern, and they act with measured confidence. She can feel the difference in your energy before you even say a word. But here's where most men completely blow it, and this mistake costs them women they could have had. They either ignore the signals entirely, or they overreact and chase so hard that they suffocate any attraction that was there. Both extremes come from the same root, not understanding what you're actually looking at. So let me show you what to look for. Signal number 1, the nervous energy she can't control. Picture this. She's talking to you. Mid-sentence, she tucks hair behind her ear twice. Her voice goes slightly higher than it was a moment ago. She adjusts her necklace even though it doesn't need adjusting. You think to yourself, is she bored? Is she uncomfortable? No. Her autonomic nervous system just told on her. Her body is betraying what her words are trying to hide. You need to understand something fundamental. You don't get nervous around people you don't care about. If she feels nothing for you, she's completely calm, neutral, unaffected. But when she likes you, her body reacts before her mind can control it. Fidgeting with jewelry, playing with hair, voice pitch changes, posture straightening when you enter the room. This isn't conscious. She's not choosing to do this. Her nervous system is responding to the presence of someone whose opinion suddenly matters. So what do you do with this information? Don't call it out. Don't say, "Why are you so nervous?" That would embarrass her and make her shut down completely. Just stay calm. Your groundedness in that moment will make her feel safer. And paradoxically, your calm response to her nervousness makes you more attractive, not less. Signal number 2, eye contact that lingers or breaks too fast. You catch her looking at you. For 1 second, your eyes meet. She quickly looks away, almost like she got caught doing something wrong. Most men interpret this as disinterest. They think she looked away, so she must not be interested. Wrong. That's not disinterest. That's her heart racing. That's her feeling exposed. That quick look away is the same as if you'd caught her writing your name in her notebook. The signal works in reverse too. Sometimes she holds eye contact 1 or 2 seconds longer than normal. It feels different. It feels weighted. That's intentional. She's testing if you'll hold it back. Here's the science behind it. Pupils dilate when we look at something we find attractive. She can't fake that. It's involuntary, controlled by her autonomic nervous system. If you pay attention, you'll notice her pupils slightly larger when she's looking at you compared to when she's looking at something neutral. And here's another pattern. She checks on you when she thinks you're not watching. In a group setting, you'll catch her eyes landing on you repeatedly, even when she's talking to someone else. She's monitoring where you are, what you're doing, who you're talking to. That's mental real estate. She's given you space in her awareness. What should you do? Hold eye contact slightly longer than feels comfortable, not in a creepy way, not in an aggressive way, just confident and present. If she holds it back or gets flustered, you've got confirmation. If she looks away but smiles, same thing. Both are green lights. Signal number 3, she invades your space. You're standing in a group. There's plenty of room for everyone, but somehow she ends up standing closer to you than necessary. Her arm brushes yours. You think, accident, right? Nope, not an accident. Women are very aware of personal space, especially around men they don't know well. If she's not interested, she maintains a comfortable distance. But when attraction is present, that invisible barrier starts to shrink. She'll stand closer than necessary. She'll brush past you when there's plenty of room. She'll lean in when you're talking, even though she can hear you fine from where she was. And here's a detail most men never notice. Watch her feet. There's research in psychology that shows feet are one of the most honest parts of body language because we're not consciously controlling them. If her feet are pointed toward you, even when her body is angled elsewhere, that's where her attention really is. The small touches increase too. A hand on your arm when she laughs, fixing your collar even though it's fine, comparing hand sizes just for fun. These are invitations. She's testing your comfort with physical proximity. What do? Don't pull away, don't overreact and grab her hand or escalate too fast. Just allow it. Let there be natural, comfortable contact. Your ease with proximity signals to her that you're confident and that it's safe for her to continue. Signal number 4, the jealousy test. She casually drops this into conversation. Yeah, Jake from work invited me to his party this weekend. Then she watches your face very carefully. You think she's bragging or trying to make you jealous intentionally? Not quite. She's testing something deeper. She wants to see if you care, but she doesn't want to ask directly because that would expose her. So she mentions another man and measures your micro reactions. Do you tense up? Do you ask questions? Do you act completely indifferent? Your response tells her how invested you actually are. This shows up in other ways too. She gets quieter when you're talking to another woman. She asks about your ex, framing it as casual curiosity. She might even flirt slightly with someone else in front of you, watching to see if you show any protective instinct. Here's the trap that most men fall into. If you get visibly jealous, insecure, or angry, you fail the test. That shows her you're emotionally reactive and easy to shake. But if you act completely indifferent, like you genuinely don't care at all, she interprets that as you not being interested. She withdraws. The calibrated response is this: stay relaxed. Maybe give a slight smirk. You could say something like, "That's cool. I'm sure he's a good guy. But I know I'm not easy to compete with." Confidence without arrogance, interest without desperation. That's the narrow path that actually works. What she's really looking for here is emotional strength. She wants to know if you're secure enough not to crumble under pressure, but also attentive enough to show that she matters to you. It's a paradox, yes, but that's the reality of attraction. Signal number 5, hot and cold, the push-pull pattern. Monday, she's texting you paragraphs, engaged, warm, asking questions. Then Tuesday comes and you get one-word replies. You rack your brain. What did I do wrong? What changed? Usually, nothing changed. She's managing her vulnerability. Here's what's actually happening. When a woman likes you, she feels pulled toward you. But that pull scares her because it means giving you power over her emotions. So she pulls back to regain control. Then she feels the distance and doesn't like that either. So she comes back warm. It's not calculated cruelty. It's her wrestling with her own feelings. This pattern confuses men because we tend to be more linear. When we like someone, we move toward them consistently. But women often move in waves. Close, then distant. Warm, then cool. She's testing something crucial here. Will you panic when she pulls back? Weak men do. They chase harder, send multiple texts, ask what's wrong, become needy. That confirms her fear that you're not grounded. But if you stay steady, if you don't collapse emotionally when she creates distance, you pass the test. What should you do? Mirror her energy without mirroring her insecurity. If she goes cold, you go neutral. Not desperate, not punishing, just grounded. You continue living your life. When she comes back warm, you receive it, but you don't overreact like you've been starving for her attention. This communicates something powerful. Your emotional state isn't dictated by her mood swings. You're your own center. And ironically, that's when she feels safest to stop testing and just be present with you. Signal number 6, she remembers everything you say. You mentioned once, just once in passing, that you like a specific type of coffee. 3 weeks later, she brings it up. Isn't that your favorite? You barely remember saying it. But she does. This is significant. We don't store information about people we're indifferent to. Our brains filter out what doesn't matter. But when someone matters, we remember. The small details, the random stories, the preferences they mentioned casually. If she's recalling things you said weeks ago, asking follow-up questions about that project you mentioned, remembering the name of your childhood dog, that's not just good memory, that's interest. She's been thinking about you enough that these details stick. Women do this when they're emotionally invested. Your words get replayed, analyzed, stored. It's a form of attention that we give to people who've become important to us. What this tells you, you've made an impression. You're not just another conversation she had and forgot. You're someone she's paying attention to. And attention, real sustained attention, is one of the clearest indicators of attraction. Signal number 7, she finds reasons to touch you. She laughs at something you said, and her hand lands on your arm for 2 seconds. Later, she fixes your collar, even though it was fine. She asks to see your phone, and her hand touches yours in the exchange. She compares hand sizes, just curious. These aren't accidents. These are invitations. Physical touch is one of the ways women test and build connection, but we're careful about it. We don't touch men we have no interest in. There's an invisible barrier we maintain, but when we like someone, we look for socially acceptable reasons to bridge that gap. The playful hit when you tease her, the brief touch on your arm during conversation, fixing something about your appearance. All of these are ways of saying, I'm comfortable with you, without saying it directly. Here's what you need to understand. She's hoping you'll reciprocate, not aggressively, not inappropriately, but with the same level of calibrated touch. If she touches your arm, it's okay to touch her shoulder later in conversation. You're matching her comfort level, showing her that you're paying attention and that you're confident enough to engage physically without being weird about it. The key is calibration. Mirror her energy. If she's comfortable with light, brief touches, you do the same. Don't escalate faster than she's showing comfort with. But also, don't be so timid that you never reciprocate at all, because then she thinks you're either uninterested or too afraid to engage. Now here's what separates men who see these signals from men who actually know what to do about them. Seeing the signs is only half the equation. The other half is responding in a way that doesn't ruin the attraction you've identified. And this is where most men make critical mistakes. When you notice these signals, your instinct might be to rush, to immediately ask her out, to confess feelings, to try to lock things down fast. Don't. Slow down. She showed interest, which is great. But now you need to show leadership, not desperation. Leadership looks like this. You suggest a plan, not, would you maybe possibly want to hang out sometime? That's weak. That's putting all the decision-making pressure on her. Instead, let's grab coffee Tuesday afternoon. I know a good spot. Decisive, clear, low pressure, but confident. If she counters with a different day, that's not rejection. That's engagement. She's saying yes, just calibrating the logistics. If she's vague or non-committal, that's different. But a counteroffer is a green light. Here's the mindset you need to maintain. Outcome independence. That means you're interested in her, but you're not desperate for a specific result. You're not attaching your self-worth to whether she says yes or no. You're simply extending an invitation as a man who knows his value. This is the paradox that makes attraction work. Interested, but not desperate. Present, but not clingy. The internal narrative is, I like her, but I'm genuinely fine either way. That's not a tactic. That's a genuine state of being that comes from having a full life that doesn't revolve around any one person's approval. When you genuinely don't need her validation to feel good about yourself, she feels that. And it's magnetic, because most men she encounters are either too timid or too needy. The man who's confident without being arrogant, interested without being desperate, that man stands out. Now let me address something important. Use this knowledge to understand, not to manipulate. The goal here isn't to trick women or play games. The goal is to communicate clearly with someone who communicates differently than you do. Remember, she's not hiding interest to hurt you. She's protecting herself while hoping you're perceptive enough to see through the protection. That's not manipulation. That's being human. That's vulnerability wrapped in self-preservation. So when you respond with understanding. Respond with empathy. Respond as a man who gets that she's not making this complicated on purpose. She's navigating her own fears and hopes just like you are. When you approach it from that frame, everything changes. You stop being frustrated with her for not being direct. You start appreciating that she's giving you signals in the way she knows how. And you step up as the kind of man who can read those signals and respond with confidence and respect. That's what women are actually looking for. Not a mind reader, not someone who needs everything spelled out, but a man who's perceptive enough, confident enough, and grounded enough to meet her where she is and lead from there. So let me bring this all together. Women hide interest not because they don't like you, but because they're protecting something valuable. Their ego, their heart, their vulnerability. The 7 signals we covered, nervousness, eye contact, proximity, jealousy tests, push-pull, memory, and touch. These aren't tricks to decode. They're a language to learn. And here's what I want you to understand. This isn't really about dating tactics. This is about becoming a man who understands human psychology at a deeper level. When you get this, you stop being confused and start being confident. You stop blaming women for being complicated and start appreciating the nuance. Because the truth is, women aren't complicated. They're just communicating in a way that's different from how men typically communicate. And if you're willing to learn that language, if you're willing to pay attention and respond with calibrated confidence, you become the rare man who actually gets it. And that changes everything, not just with women, but in how you move through the world. Because this kind of awareness, this ability to read between the lines and understand what's not being said directly, that's a form of social intelligence that elevates you in every area of life. If you're watching this and something clicked, if you're thinking back to last month or last week and suddenly going, oh, that's what was happening, then you're already changing. Awareness is the first step. Action is the second. So here's what I want you to do. Subscribe to Charisma Mind right now. This channel exists for one reason, to help you become a man who doesn't stumble through relationships confused and frustrated. A man who understands, who leads, and who connects with clarity. Every video here is designed to make you sharper, stronger, and more grounded, not through manipulation or games, but through genuine understanding of how human psychology works. This is about competence. This is about becoming effective in an area of life that matters deeply, but that most men never learn to navigate well. Don't just watch this video and move on. Commit to the process. Hit that subscribe button. Turn on notifications. This is where your transformation accelerates, because understanding women isn't the end goal. The end goal is becoming a man who understands people, who understands himself, and who moves through life with the kind of confidence that doesn't need to announce itself. That's the man women respect. That's the man other men respect. And most importantly, that's the man you'll respect when you look in the mirror. So make the decision right now. Subscribe. This is just the beginning.